Are we losing people? Hi, good afternoon, everyone. We are going to get started in just a minute. We're just waiting for a few more attendees to join. All right, well, hello, everyone, and good afternoon. I want to thank you all for attending today's presentation on Experience by Ingleside. We are super excited to share our newest service available to those in the wider community. My name is Kristen Shanks. I am the Vice President of Sales for Ingleside. And although today's event is virtual, I welcome all of you to come join us on one of our campuses to learn more. We'd love to meet in person, show you our communities. And at the end of today's presentation, I'll leave contact information if you have any more questions or would like to come on campus for a tour. So I am sure at this point, everybody is fully proficient in Zoom. But for those who would like a reminder for today's event, you're going to have two ways to ask questions. First, you can raise your hand with a little hand icon. It's at the bottom of your screen, and we can call on you. And then what you'll want to do is unmute yourself and ask your question. The other option, probably the most popular option, is where you can just add your questions to the Q&A box. That icon is right next to the little hand on your screen, and we'll read those questions through the Q&A portion of the presentation, which is actually at the end of the presentation. I do tend to do the Q&A at the very end because that way everybody can hear the questions versus keep getting the same questions as people attend today's event because we might have some late arrivers for today's presentation. So before we go straight into Experience by Ingleside, I understand that there might be several people on this call who are completely new to the Ingleside brand. So I thought it'd be good to just give you an overview of our company in general. So Ingleside actually began as the Presbyterian home in the District of Columbia, and that was in 1906. So this year we're celebrating 120 years in Washington, D.C. And the mission in 1906 was to care for the frail and elderly members of the church who had no other resources and nowhere else to go. Obviously, over the last century, Ingleside has grown into a premier not-for-profit provider of senior living services in the DMV. And we are much larger than we were when we started in 1906. We currently manage three CARF accredited life plan communities: Ingleside at Rock Creek in Washington, D.C., Westminster at Lake Ridge at Lake Ridge, Virginia, that is near, or Woodbridge, Virginia, and that's near Occoquan, if you're familiar with that cute little town. in Virginia. And then there's Ingleside at King Farm, which is in Rockville, Maryland. They are located in that King Farm neighborhood of Rockville, Maryland, up near Shady Grove Road. So these life plan communities, they are residential communities. They offer all levels of care, independent living, as well as having access to higher levels of care if you need it. So that would be assisted living, memory support assisted living, skilled nursing, and rehab. And it's all on one campus. So many of you might have heard this kind of residential living as continuing care retirement communities, or CCRCs. But over time, the nomenclature now has become life plan communities because it's a little less about care and it's a little bit more about planning for your future. So now Ingleside is excited to share our newest product, shall I say, Experience by Ingleside. I do want to mention that we have a few other offerings that we provide within Ingleside beyond our life plan communities. So those are residential settings. You can live on campus. But we do have another service called Ingleside at Home. That actually provides home care, which we can provide on our campus, but we can also provide it to you in your home if you'd like to age in place. You would just need to live in the geographical area of one of our communities so that you could be provided that service. We also have a product called Ingleside Engaged. So this is a social day program. It is a program for those who are in the early stages and have mild cognitive impairment. It really is an amazing day program where those with cognitive impairment can be engaged, but we know that there are over 16 million caregivers in the US who are caring for loved ones who have cognitive impairment. And it's also a beautiful option to give those caregivers respite during the day. They can do their own self-care and then they can bring their loved one back home. Ingleside Engaged is available to the members of our community or residents of our community, as well as the our outside neighbors. So if you know anyone who would benefit from a social day program, we do have it at all three of our communities. We also have the Westminster Ingleside Foundation. So through your journey, maybe you've been looking at moving in the future and you're looking at retirement communities. I consider one of the major benefits of looking at a not-for-profit versus a for-profit is that many not-for-profits have a foundation on campus. And the foundation's mission is to raise money so that our residents on campus, if they were to run out of financial resources to no fault of their own, the foundation allows them to live on campus versus us saying, sorry, you're out of resources, you need to find somewhere to live. So not only does a life plan or a not-for-profit life plan community take care of you through all levels of care, it also can care for you regardless of where your finances end up as you age. And now, of course, we have Experience by Ingleside. And this is our tailored concierge service, and it's a solution that organizes a whole collection of what we call home services. So anything from meal delivery to housekeeping to lawn maintenance. So we are excited to introduce that to you today. But I thought before we get started, I don't know if you've been on our website. We do have a short video that I think explains Experience by Ingleside pretty nicely. So I thought I'd show that first.
Meet Mary and her family. Mary has lived in her home since it was built. Her kids took their first steps in it, made memories in it, and as they grew up, they helped keep it running. Mary's kids are grown now, and they have homes of their own. They all help when they can, but not like when they lived at home. Mary loves her home, and with all the memories that Mary's family has made in this house, she wants her grandkids to love it too. Now that Mary is retired, she wants to use her time her way. That doesn't mean climbing ladders to clean her gutters, weeding her garden in the summer heat, scrubbing her bathroom floors every week, or grooming Spot, her dog. But Mary and her family have trouble finding services they trust in her home that arrive on time, every time, and deliver value and quality. That's why Mary and her family use Experience by Ingleside to create the perfect home services plan. Everything from lawn care to house cleaning, laundry, dinner, and keeping Spot clean. All Mary has to do is pick what she needs, and her Experience by Ingleside concierge will take care of the rest. Scheduling only trusted, vetted providers, negotiating exclusive rates on her behalf, and sending her a single bill at the end of each month, allowing Mary to get back to what really matters. Use your time the way you want. Trust Experience by Ingleside with the rest.
All right. So as I mentioned, Experience by Ingleside, it is a concierge service. But what that means is that you're going to actually have a personal concierge who is actually it's a live human being. It's not a chat bot. It's not some sort of AI functionality that you're dealing with. Your concierge will be the person that will help assist you in creating whatever services you would like, help schedule those services, and then also help coordinate day of the logistics. Now, unfortunately, Kat Murphy she is the lead to Experience by Ingleside. She leads our concierge team. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to join us today, but I still thought it was important for you to be able to see her. She is a live human being, and she's just one of the friendly voices that you hear on the other end of the phone or that you would have email communication with. So, what is Experience by Ingleside? And I know the video kind of went over a lot of this, but it is what we would call personalized home services, and they are delivered directly to wherever you are, which is generally in your home. Although you can live on our campus and receive some of these services as well. Most people who move into a life plan community have many of these services built in place with meals and housekeeping. But things like pet care are generally not part of a life plan community. Things like IT support are sometimes not part of being in a life plan community. And so there are people who will bring Experience by Ingleside into our communities as well. This list just shows some of what I would say are the most popular services that our members choose. Um, Adding to the house cleaning, window washing is very, very popular. With meals and grocery delivery, we have a lot of people who choose to have personal shopping, especially through like a Costco, because the vendors that we use that can go out and deliver the product to you have a Costco membership. They can kind of go get those items like water, uh, kitty litter, things that might be a little more heavy that you don't want to deal with, so they can go out and do that for you as well. Pet care is very popular, especially boarding and grooming of pets. And then with the laundry, there's actually getting your dry cleaning done as well. And you can have um, this list is like could go on forever, but I do think with the lawn care, handyman services, those have been very, very popular. And then, of course, transportation. We know on our campus in particular, some people are not comfortable with using Uber because they are not comfortable yet with the driver can't always stay with you at the doctor's appointment or hang around to take you back. So with Experience by Ingleside, you would have a driver that is with you who could take you there, they'll wait, and then they could take you back. So um, there's a lot of flexibility in the services, and you can choose as little or as many as you'd like to choose or select. So, one of the really nice things about Experience by Ingleside is that it is more than what's expected. So, I understand that for many of you living in your home, you've already figured out what do you need for transportation? How are you doing your shopping? Maybe you have a housekeeper. Maybe you already have a lot of things in place and you're really comfortable. But there are times, especially now when it comes to the winter, when the temperature drops, and maybe there are things within your home that you weren't expecting to happen. And it's nice instead of you having to deal with contacting the vendors, figuring out who to hire, it's nice to have someone else who can do that for you. So this slide actually lists several of the services that people are getting now during the winter to winterize their home. Um, One of the other things that we do have people select, it's not common, but we do, in Washington, D.C., there are homes that do not have air conditioning and they have window units. And so it's nice to have someone who can come and actually take the window unit out for you versus you having to do it yourself. Obviously, I'm getting chimney maintenance right now. I wanted to light a fire and had someone come and do an inspection, and I have significant work that needs to be done before I can light a fire safely. So, these are the things, and snow shoveling, of course. These are the things that our members are calling for. And it's just not something day to day that you deal with, but it's nice to have someone you can call when you need it. So it's really less of a headache for you. The other really, really popular service with Experience by Ingleside is move management. So I'm quite certain that most people on this call have lived in their homes for a very long time. And the thought of moving can be pretty daunting. And the thought of not only moving, but what am I going to do with all the stuff that I've collected over the years? The beauty of a move management service is that you have someone who can actually oversee that for you in every aspect of the move, from as little help you need to doing the whole thing for you. So the downsizing, there's tons of questions on how do I downsize? How do I downsize? Will somebody take donations? How do I get it to my furniture to my child who's in California? How do I just get rid of something that may not be valuable anymore? What's the best way to just get rid of something if nobody wants it? And then people have used move management to help pack them up and put their things in storage while maybe they are temporarily living in their summer home until they find another place to move. We've had people use move management services where they get packed up and the move management company will unpack them, everything to the toothbrush in like the little toothbrush slot for them. So it's as little or as much as you need during a very stressful time of figuring out what your next step is when you're leaving your home. I would say working in senior living for the last 15, coming up on 16 years, 95% of our clients who move into a community or downsize into a condo or move in with their children, use their adult children, use some sort of move management service because it is a daunting task. And then I pretty much can confidently tell you the other 5% who didn't say, I should have done it, that they are still living in some boxes in their apartments. Because unless you have able-bodied adult children, grandchildren, or friends who are able to roll up their sleeves and help you, it can be tough. So move management, I would say, I used it when I moved recently 2 years ago. It was the best money I think I've spent in quite a while. So let's talk a little bit about how Experience by Ingleside works. Um, it's pretty easy. The first step is that you have an onboarding call with Kat or one of our lead concierge. And during this call, they are going to discuss what services that you might be interested in. So you might call in and say, I know exactly what I want. You might call in and say, tell me more, just tell me a list of what you can do. I mean, as I mentioned before, the list is pretty broad. But they'll help you curate, what services you'd be interested in. And then one of the things, depending on what you're trying to do, they're going to help you select and finalize what maybe delivery days or what days work best for your schedule during that call. Then Kat is going to go back, and she is going to go back to vendors, vet vendor, Cat or her team, it's not always Cat, will go back to the vendors. She's going to vet the vendors for you, let them know what you're looking for. She will come back to you, letting you know the discussion, the pricing, and when you agree with Kat on what you would like done, Kat goes back to the vendors. She coordinates the day of logistics for you. So you don't even have to worry about that. Before you even receive your service, you're going to get a pre-service reminder, hey, reminder, you have a landscaper coming today to look at cutting some trees, so that you are ready for when they arrive. Then you'll have your service. What will happen after that is Kat will do a post follow-up call with you. Kat or her team will do a post follow-up call with you. Make sure that your service was to your satisfaction. Make any service adjustments if needed. If this is maybe like housekeeping, something you're going to get on a repeated schedule. And then what happens is you'll get one consolidated bill at the end of the month. And the reason I say consolidated is because it could be that you've received one service, but we have many members who use Experience by Ingleside for something regularly occurring, like housekeeping. But then because they have a relationship with Kat, they will then call Kat whenever something else happens. So let's say you have Kat, you have Experience by Ingleside for housekeeping, and then all of a sudden you have a leak. Well, the great thing is you can just call your concierge back up and say, now I need an additional service. But the beauty of it is you get one consolidated bill, which means that you're not dealing with how do I navigate a vendor's website? How do I pay different bills? When is the due date? It is one bill that will be presented to you at the end of the month with all the services that you had requested in that month. Um, so you don't have to juggle payment options anymore with vendors. And then for those clients who are getting reoccurrent services such as housekeeping, you will get what they call a monthly client check-in. And that check-in is just to continually make sure that what you're receiving is up to your satisfaction and that you're happy. And if anything needs to be adjusted, whether it's the day or maybe you want to increase service, housekeeping, or reduce what they're doing. But it's very flexible. But all the hard lifting of the scheduling, the logistics, dealing with the how the fees go, that's all taken care of by your concierge. You don't have to deal with that. So my experience by Ingleside, I mean, I think there's uh, uh, quite a few reasons, and some of the reasons that, obviously what we hear from people who use it is it saves them time and it helps relieve stress of home maintenance. Because, I think I don't know what the quote is, but at some point your home starts owning you more than you own the home. And so it's having someone who can navigate that for you. And I'm sure for most people on this call today, if I said, what would you like to be doing right now? Pretty certain cleaning your toilet would not be the answer. It would be, I would much rather be taking a class, visiting family, doing things that I enjoy versus doing the things I have to do to keep my home in running order. The other, like I would say, benefit that we hear really is the consolidated monthly bill and not having to worry about dealing with different vendors, having to find the vendors, vet the vendors because we've already vetted them, and then having to deal with how to pay them. It's a lot easier to do by using Experience by Ingleside. But through this journey with Experience by Ingleside, we have heard a couple people who will say, I don't want to say misconceptions, but they'll say, this is kind of why I don't want to do it. So I think it's important to talk about why, no matter where you are in your life, whether you're home, whether you're moving, whether you already have help, there is a benefit with the experience by Ingleside. So one of the things we hear is I live in an apartment or condo. And so, you know, yeah, perhaps where you live, you don't need winterization. Maybe a lot of your maintenance is taken care of for you in your apartment, so that's not a problem. But there are other things such as pet care, personal shopping, even handyman services. Let's say you buy furniture and it needs to be put together. That can be a pain. I put a chair together recently. It took me 3 hours and I was really frustrated. So there are benefits to using Experience by Ingleside versus just it's about home maintenance and it's about meal delivery. The other one we hear quite often, we have a lot of clients who have housekeepers, maybe landscapers, people who have been with you for 20 years, 30 years. I mean, they're practically part of your family at this point. And so, by no means would we say, oh, get rid of your housekeeper. But your housekeepers are human too, and they get sick, they go on vacation. And why stop having your own services? Why not have someone come in temporarily who can help you with laundry, who can help you with keeping the house clean? In fact, we have one member, she's getting regular meal delivery, but her housekeeper went away for 3 weeks. So during that time, she called up her concierge and said, I'd like to get temporary housekeeping, someone who can do laundry, someone who can keep my house tidy while my housekeeper goes out of the country. And we added it to her services. And then when her housekeeper came home, she was able to greet them back and was able to continue with her original housekeeper. So it's flexible in that too. You are not tied into using services for a specific period of time. It is all flexible to work within your schedule. And then the other thing we hear, because obviously we are a community of residents or soon to be residents who are moving in, that, I'm going to be living in your community in the next 90 days. So why would I call Experience by Ingleside? There's no reason for me to get started with it. But, when you move into a community or move into an apartment or move into a condo and downsize, there's a lot you're going to need to do to get ready for that move. And Experience by Ingleside with Move Management is a great way to help you get through this. In addition, and I can say from my own experience, I sold one property 2 years ago and moved into another property. When you go to sell your home, you're obviously going to contact a real estate agent and they're going to walk your home. And most certainly, they're going to walk your home and are going to suggest things for you to fix to make sure that you get the best price for your home. And I think for many people, we get that, oh, my fireplace doesn't work. Maybe I should get that repaired to get the best dollar for my home. Maybe my water heater broke. I need to repair that. But there's a lot of little things that you don't even think about because you see them every day and they almost become normal to you. Things like torn window screens. Um, I had a sticky lock. My front door lock stuck. And my agent said, you need to get that fixed because the last thing you want is someone to try to get in your house and they can't get in with their agent. It already puts this thought in their head, well, if their lock sticks, what have they not taken care of in the rest of the house? Cracks in the driveway, things of that nature, which you see every day, but they've become your norm, so they may not stand out to you anymore. So a handyman, those kind of things are super beneficial, which you can get through Experience by Ingleside to help get your home show ready for when you are ready to move. And it's good to get it looked at now, even if you're not thinking of moving, so you can get those things addressed before the time comes. So talk a little bit about pricing. If Okay, so this is not a one size fits all product. So if you are familiar with our community, or if you've looked at other senior living communities, most of them have a pretty structured pricing schedule in that you have an entrance fee or you might have a monthly fee, but it's pretty dependent on the size of the apartment that you select. Um, with a product like Experience by Ingleside, the cost is really based on not only the service that you're getting, but the frequency of the services you're getting. It can also be dependent on the size of your home. So, I mean, if you're getting housekeeping and you live in a three-bedroom home, it's obviously going to be less expensive than if you lived in a five-bedroom home. If you're getting meal delivery and you're getting it twice a week, it's going to be less expensive than getting it 7 days a week. So it is really dependent on what you select and how often you select it. So really suggest if you have interest in Experience by Ingleside, talking with one of our concierges and understanding what your situation is so they can bring pricing back that is specific to you. But on this slide here, these are some of the most popular services that people get and the average cost that would be associated with them. So for example, meal delivery, people are tending to spend about $90 to $140 a week. Again, depends if you get all your meals every day or one meal once a day. It's very dependent on the person. Handyman, again, super popular. I mean, this one is very popular because there's always something in your home that can be fixed. I mean, even down to we have someone who was getting window washing, and then she had a jewelry box that had a broken clasp that she wanted to get fixed. So she called her concierge and they fixed the jewelry box. I mean, the pricing can go anywhere depending on what you actually need done. And then grocery delivery too, very popular. The one thing that is not on here, move management. We get lots of questions about move management and how much it can cost. Um, Again, it is from how much you want them to do all the way to, you know, how frequent they're coming to your house. So most move management is going to cost you in the five to $10,000 range, again, depending on the size of your house and what you want them to do, which is they could just pack you up and move you. They could actually pack you up, move you, unpack you. They could store your belongings. They can help you get rid of stuff. The sky's the limit for what move management can do, but that generally could be anywhere from about five to $10,000. Um, what I want to point out is that, like I mentioned with our communities, when you move into a lot of life plan communities, there is an entrance fee that you pay, and there is a monthly fee associated with the cost of the apartment that you've selected. There is no membership fee with Experience by Ingleside. The only things that you are paying for, there's no monthly fee either. The only things that you are paying for is the service that you are requesting. So that fee goes to the vendor. The other thing is a concierge fee, and that is what pays for the concierge. That fee is 17.5% of the service that you are requesting up to $50. So if you were doing move management and it was $5,000, you wouldn't pay 17.5% of $5,000. You would pay $50 for the concierge to do that for you. On the flip side, if you're doing something and it's $100, then you would pay $17.50. So hopefully that's explanatory. I can go into it a little bit more if anyone has any questions, but there is no entrance fee that you need to pay to be a member. There is no reoccurring monthly fee that you pay to be a member. We say member of Experience by Ingleside, but there is no fee associated with it. It is just the fee for the service and then that concierge charge. Rates are subject to increase, not the concierge charge, but the service, but that's dependent on what's going on with vendor pricing, cost of food, how things normally go up with inflation. But we just like to let people know that if there is an increase, we're going to give you 60 days notice so that you're able to say, I'm no longer interested in the service. And so you won't feel that fee because we will let you know ahead of time. So how do I get started? You have a couple different ways to get started. We obviously have a phone number you can call, which will get you to a member of Ingleside, um, and who can help you through Experience by Ingleside. We also have an email address tailored at inglesideonline.org, where you can actually request service, and then you will be um, contacted by a concierge. And then we have our inglesideonline.org, where you can go on there as well. And in what you'll see on the website is kind of what's in front of you right now. The At the top of the screen circled there is a link for Experience by Ingleside. That will get you to the landing page for Experience by Ingleside, and then you can peruse that, look through more information. You can also start a conversation about learning more about the product with the concierge through that as well. Um, and so those are the three ways that you can either get started and learn more about the product. So if you are interested also in learning more about one of our communities, feel free to call the phone number as well. Or you can go on to the inglesideonline.org website, and there is contact information in there for you as well. So I think we have some questions. I have a sneaking suspicion the chat box didn't work because don't we love technology? But I think I found them in a different place. Yes, this is always how it happens. Oh, I should mention IT is one of the things that you can get through Experience by Ingleside. There are companies that vendors that we can contact to help you with that. So the questions are, oh, okay, to use Experience by Ingleside, does one need to be physically near an Ingleside campus? No. So the beauty of Experience by Ingleside is that we are partnering with a company called Dorvey. Dorvey actually is a Chevy Chase-based company. They have concierge all over the United States. And so as long as you live near, I would say, a city that is like, obviously, if you're in a super rural area, it probably would be a little difficult. But as long as you are in an area that is, near a city, you can use Experience by Ingleside. I have not heard of any location where they can't find vendors to help you. So we actually do have quite a few people on our wait list who don't live in the area who are able to use the product. And the concierge, all they'll do is they will start calling vendors within the city that you live in, and will vet them for you. So yeah, it's pretty easy. The other one was the move management include the cost of the move itself was 5 to 10K. So uh, I am not a move management professional, but we work with a lot of move management companies. And so we hear a lot from our clients that moved. I will give you the example of myself, but again, this is my situation and the size of the property that I was moving from. So I was moving from a one-bedroom condo and I was moving into a house. But for me to have my one-bedroom condo, actually, I had everything packed and I had it moved into my house and I had it unpacked for me. That was $5,000. That paid for the packing, the actual physical move. So getting it from one place to another place and then getting it all unpacked. It was $5,000. If you live in a 5-bedroom house and you have a lot of things that you need to get packed up and unpacked, or if you need to have them help with perhaps donating belongings, um, getting rid of belongings, that can go up to $10,000. It could go even more if you are someone who is, I don't know, they're putting their stuff in storage and trying to figure out what the next step is. So, but I wanted to give you that range because I don't want people to think that move management is going to be like as inexpensive as getting meal delivery. Those two things are definitely two different animals when it comes to cost. But that I will say, having a move management company help you is worth it. Literally is worth every penny. It's worth every penny, because it is stressful enough to move, let alone figure out what you're going to do with all your belongings and what are you going to do with the things that you can't move. Oh, the other thing about move management, which is really cool, is they'll take your floor plan and help you put your belongings into wherever you're moving. So they'll decorate, they'll help you figure out how to put your furniture and everything in. I mean, they can do so much. So, but I really wanted to let you know it's not as expensive as getting a handyman to come to your house. I think that is it for questions, unless anyone has any other additional questions. I think that it's worth a chat with a concierge, because um, th to find out what you need. And I can just say now, from being someone who lived in a home for a long time and moved, I I heard from clients it was hard, but until you do it yourself, you realize, wow, like it is really nice having someone else help you through it. So I hope you all have, oh, there's another one. Do move managers come to people's homes to look at your collections, paintings, advise on how to get rid of stuff? Yes. So the companies that I call them vendors, but the companies that we have been using to help people move are ones that are used quite frequently on our campus to move into our campus. So we have high confidence in the communities that are being vetted to do move management, and they will come on site. Many of them have auction houses they work with or other professionals that they know, that can help look at your belongings and understand, are they even valuable anymore? Our move managers have done it for so long now that many of them can come in and tell you, yeah, that China, people aren't buying it anymore. So they'll know what has value now, or maybe what's been sitting at an auction house, what may you just might want to donate. And because there's a lot of my adult children do not want what I have. We would love for them to take it, but they just don't. They have enough of their own. So yes, they will advise on that. And I would say most of the people who move into communities and life plan communities, well-traveled, well-educated, have collected a lot through the time that they've been living on their homes. And so they do need help finding solutions for items that they have collected over the years. Don't want to bring with them, maybe they can't bring with them, but they would like assistance with that. So that was a long-winded answer to say yes to, to the question. And I think, so that's why I always say move management, so worth it, so worth it. And the handyman and getting your house ready. So, um, thank you everyone for coming on today's call. Again, any other questions, feel free to reach out to us. And if you have someone that you're already talking to at one of our communities, feel free to reach out to them as well. In the meantime, thank you for joining, and I hope you all have a great holiday weekend. And until next time, take care.